Every time you overreact, you give your freedom away. Have you ever felt that searing sting of regret after an outburst? A harsh word you couldn't possibly take back. A rash action that only made a difficult situation infinitely worse. In those moments, it feels as though reason itself has completely disappeared, and you are utterly swept away by an overwhelming tide of emotion. You knew deep down that you did not want to react that way, yet you did. The truth, a profound and often uncomfortable one, is that you cannot stop the world from making you angry, anxious, or hurt. Life will inevitably present challenges, insults, and disappointments. But you can decide how you respond to these inevitable events. That, my friends, is the fundamental difference between being a helpless victim of your emotions and becoming their undeniable master. The ancient Stoics, philosophers of immense wisdom, understood this truth thousands of years ago, and today I am going to share powerful, time-tested tools to help you reclaim that essential control over your inner world. Before we dive into these transformative habits, if you are truly ready to stop merely reacting and start truly living a life of purpose and composure, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment below sharing your biggest challenge with emotional reactions, and subscribe to the channel. Your invaluable support helps us share these vital insights with even more people who desperately need them. If you are ready, let us begin this journey of self-mastery. Habit 1. The 5-second pause. Just 5 seconds. That is all it takes to fundamentally change the way you respond to any given situation. So small, so simple, yet it stands as the crucial boundary between a reckless, regrettable reaction and a wise, considered decision. Why are these 5 seconds so incredibly powerful? When we are triggered, our primitive brain instantly shifts into survival mode. The amygdala, that ancient almond-shaped emotional center deep within our brain, pushes us to shout, to strike back, or to flee, often without any conscious thought. But if you deliberately pause for just a few precious seconds, your prefrontal cortex, the sophisticated center of reason, planning, and wise judgment, gets a crucial chance to take control. Those 5 seconds are not merely a delay. They are the vital bridge from raw, unthinking instinct to intelligent, deliberate action. Imagine, for a moment, someone insults you. Your body immediately surges with the primal urge to explode, to retaliate. But instead, you pause. 1 second, 2, 3. You inhale deeply, feeling the breath fill your lungs, and then exhale slowly, releasing the tension. The internal storm, which moments ago felt all-consuming, begins to settle. Reason, like the sun breaking through clouds, slowly rises. Now, from this place of calm, you can choose to respond with intelligence, with composure, and even with dignity. In that profound moment, you are no longer a puppet of your emotions. You are the master, the director of your own internal play. The Stoics called this prohairesis, the inherent freedom to choose your response, regardless of external circumstances. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is not about repression, about bottling up your feelings. It is about profound transformation. Those 5 seconds create a vital distance, a sacred space where an impulsive, potentially destructive reaction can be transmuted into a wise, constructive response. It undeniably takes practice, consistent, dedicated practice, but each and every time you pause, you reclaim the driver's seat of your life. You choose wisdom over impulse. You remind yourself with every deliberate breath, it is not your emotions, but you who truly hold the power. Habit 2. Deep breathing. Have you ever truly noticed that every surge of anger, every wave of fear, every moment of panic always begins with your breath? When you are anxious, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, almost imperceptible. When you are angry, you might gasp or hold your breath, your chest tightening. Your breath in these moments betrays you, turning you into a helpless puppet of your emotions. If you do not learn to control your breath, you will, quite simply, never control your emotions. Our body possesses a hidden switch, a primal mechanism known as the fight or flight mode. When we are stressed, our breathing automatically becomes shallow and quick, sending an urgent alarm signal to our brain. Our heart races, our muscles tense, preparing for an unseen threat. But the enemy, in most modern scenarios, is not a wild animal. It is just an email, a critical comment, a looming deadline. You find yourself breathing as though preparing for war, when what you desperately need is profound calm. The key, the simple yet revolutionary key, lies in one deep, conscious breath. Inhale deeply, allowing your diaphragm to expand, hold for a moment, savoring the stillness, and then exhale slowly, completely releasing all tension. Everything, almost miraculously, begins to shift. Your heart rate slows, your muscles soften, your mind, which moments ago was screaming with frantic thoughts, begins to quiet. Science calls this activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural rest and digest system. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, called it returning to your center, your inner citadel of peace. Picture a tough, unexpected question from your boss. Your immediate impulse is to blurt something out, anything to fill the silence. Instead, you take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Suddenly, you are composed, steady, and entirely in control. This is the astonishing power of the breath. It transforms chaos into clarity. Deep breathing is not merely a trick you employ only when you are drowning in stress. It must become a ritual, a sacred daily practice. Practice it daily, consciously, and it will gradually become your new automatic instinct. Let each breath remind you, with quiet conviction, I am in control. My emotions do not control me. I choose calm. When you change your breath, you change your physiological state. When you change your state, you change your decisions. And when you change your decisions, you change your entire life. Habit 3. Personal mantra. You step, perhaps unwittingly, into an argument. Your heart races, a frantic drumbeat in your chest. The other person's words, sharp and precise, cut like a knife, striking straight at your most vulnerable pride. In that instant, every lesson, every promise you made to yourself vanishes. You promised not to lose your temper, to master yourself, to remain composed. Yet with just one provocative sentence, you lose it. You react, you explode, and then inevitably, you regret. We have all been there, caught in that familiar, painful cycle. When emotions rise, they do not grant you the luxury of time to remember philosophy or to calmly analyze the situation. They push you, with an irresistible force, to act immediately, impulsively. If you have nothing solid to hold on to, no anchor in the storm, you will be swept away, utterly helpless. That is precisely why you need a personal mantra, a short, sharp, powerful phrase, potent enough to pierce through the most violent emotional storm. It could be something as simple as, I choose peace, or I am reason, or this too shall pass. It does not have to be long or poetic, only a phrase you deeply believe in, one you repeat to yourself, silently or aloud, until it sinks into your very blood, becoming an intrinsic part of you. Picture this scenario. You are stuck in gridlocked traffic, horns blare aggressively, someone cuts you off without warning. Anger surges, hot and immediate. Normally you would curse, perhaps even yell. But this time, a phrase, your chosen mantra, rises unbidden in your mind. I choose peace. Just one sentence, and suddenly the anger, which felt so overwhelming, begins to dissipate. Not because the external world changed, but because you, through the power of your mantra, pulled yourself out of the destructive emotional spiral. This is the profound power of a mantra. It is your anchor, your steadfast point in a turbulent world. The boat of your mind may rock violently, but with an anchor firmly cast, it does not drift away into chaos. Your mantra keeps you steady, centered, and grounded amid the most intense chaos. Train it daily, diligently. Say it in the morning as you begin your day, before bed as you reflect, and whenever you feel the first stirrings of stress or irritation. Each time you say it, you hammer another nail into the anchor of your ship, strengthening its hold. One day, when emotions threaten to drown you, the mantra will spring to mind automatically, a reflex of self-mastery. It will have become an integral part of you, a silent guardian of your inner peace. Habit 4. Spot triggers early. Picture a pot of water on the stove, slowly heating. At first, just a few tiny bubbles rise from the bottom, small, seemingly harmless, easily ignored. But if you do not pay attention, If the flame beneath it continues to burn unchecked, soon the water boils over, spilling everywhere, creating a mess and potentially a danger. Our emotions, in their raw, untamed state, work in precisely the same way. Each of us possesses a breaking point, a unique threshold beyond which reason and composure completely collapse. The inherent danger is that most of us fail to notice the small, subtle signs, those initial bubbles before the full-blown explosion. Your body, a remarkably honest messenger, always sends signals. Your heartbeat quickens, a subtle tension forms in your jaw, your shoulders stiffen imperceptibly. But because you are so intensely focused on the external situation, on the perceived threat or insult, you fail to notice these crucial internal warnings. And by the time you do, it is often too late. You have already uttered words you should not have, performed actions you will deeply regret. This is precisely why recognizing your triggers early, at their nascent stage, is absolutely vital. It is akin to having a vigilant gatekeeper warning you before the fire erupts, before the pot boils over. When you know that the red light is about to flash, that the internal alarm is about to sound, you possess the power to interrupt the destructive cycle. You can choose to step outside for a moment, to take a series of deep, calming breaths, or to deliberately shift your perspective. Just one small, conscious move can save you from a full-blown meltdown. The Stoics, with their profound emphasis on self-awareness, called this the art of self-observation. They trained daily, not to avoid emotions altogether, but to perceive them in their earliest, most manageable form. Because once the storm is raging, once the pot is violently boiling, no one has enough reason left to calmly analyze it or to steer it effectively. But when it is just a gentle breeze, when only a few bubbles are rising, you can steer it with ease, with grace. So ask yourself, with honest introspection, what is your first signal? A pounding heart? Trembling hands? A sudden rush of heat to your face? Begin listening intently to your body, to its subtle whispers. Notice the delicate tension as it first arises. When you see that signal, that early warning, do not dismiss it as insignificant. That, my friend, is the precise moment you hold the power to either let anger take over completely or to step aside, to choose a different path, and to reclaim your calm. Recognize it early, and you have already won half the battle. Habit 5. Acknowledge emotions. You have probably heard or perhaps even uttered yourself the familiar, often deceptive words, "I am fine," but the truth, the often hidden truth, is that inside, you are not fine at all. Your mind is tangled, a complex web of conflicting thoughts and feelings. You are sad, but you bravely say, "I am fine." You are angry, but you insist with a forced smile that it is nothing, a mere trifle. You are anxious, but you pretend with practiced ease to be perfectly calm and collected. That, my friends, is not strength. That is, in fact, building a towering wall of lies, a formidable facade designed to hide the raging storm inside. And here, precisely, lies the problem. The higher and thicker the wall you construct, the bigger and more destructive the storm becomes. And one day, inevitably, when it can no longer be contained, it will explode, causing immense damage. The Stoics, contrary to popular misconception, never taught us to deny our emotions, to suppress them into oblivion. On the contrary, they urged absolute unflinching honesty with ourselves. If you are sad, dare to say with quiet courage, "I am sad." If you are angry, admit it. Without shame, "I am angry." Not so that you can drown in the emotion, not so you can wallow in self-pity, but so that you can call it by its true name. Because only when an enemy has a name, when it is clearly identified, can you truly face it, can you begin to understand it. When you deny it, when you refuse to acknowledge its presence, you are merely fighting in the dark, swinging blindly at shadows. Epictetus, with his profound insight, once declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But how can you possibly master yourself? How can you gain control if you will not even acknowledge your own deepest feelings? True freedom does not emanate from pretending to be strong, from maintaining a false front. It comes, instead, from having the profound courage to face the turbulent waves inside your own soul, to look them directly in the eye. Acknowledging emotions does not, in any way, mean letting them control you, letting them dictate your actions. It means rather shining a bright, illuminating light into the darkness of your inner world instead of stumbling blindly through it. When you admit, with honesty, "I am anxious," you immediately create a vital space, a mental clearing, to ask yourself, "Why am I anxious? What specifically is causing this feeling, and what, if anything, can I do about it?" That space, that moment of honest inquiry, is precisely where reason returns, where clarity begins to emerge. That, my friends, is what true strength, true self-mastery truly looks like. Habit 6. Name the emotion. Imagine for a moment standing on a vast battlefield in complete, impenetrable darkness. Enemies are everywhere, unseen, unheard, yet their presence is palpable. You hear vague noises, unsettling whispers, but you have no idea where they are coming from, no sense of their form or number. Panic, cold and paralyzing, takes over. You swing your sword wildly, desperately, but it is utterly useless, hitting only empty air. That, precisely, is what happens when you do not name your emotions. Anger, fear, anxiety, sadness. They become invisible shadows, formless and menacing, pressing down on you with immense weight, leaving you no chance to fight back effectively. No hope of understanding. But the very moment you turn on the light, the instant you call them by their true name, this is anger, this is fear, this is profound sadness. The enemy suddenly takes shape. It is no longer vague, an amorphous threat. It has form, it has boundaries, and most importantly, it is often far smaller, far less terrifying than you initially thought. This, my friends, is the astonishing power of naming your emotions. Modern science, in its own language, calls this effect labeling. When you consciously put a label on an intense emotion, the brain immediately begins to calm its overreaction, its frantic alarm bells, and returns gradually to a state of reason and composure. Naming emotions is like taking a chaotic, disorganized army and placing every soldier back in line, restoring order. What was once a state of utter disorder now possesses structure, clarity. What once overwhelmed you, threatening to consume you, is now, remarkably, under your management, within your sphere of influence. The Stoics understood this intuitively, seeing it as the essential act of putting emotions in their rightful place, not denying their existence, not pretending they do not affect you, but also, crucially, not letting them rule over you, dictate your every thought and action. A named emotion is like a mischievous child, whose unruly behavior is gently but firmly corrected by a stern yet loving parent. It quiets down. You still see it, you still hear its presence, but you are no longer controlled by it, no longer its helpless victim. Try it right now, in this very moment. When anger rises within you, say clearly with conscious intent, "I am angry." When fear creeps in, admit with quiet honesty, "I am afraid." You will notice something almost magical, something profoundly transformative. The emotion softens. It is still there, a presence, but it is no longer sitting on your shoulders, weighing you down, whispering destructive thoughts. You have, through the simple act of naming, put it back on the ground at a manageable distance. This practice is not about self-pity, not about wallowing in your feelings. It is about creating distance, a vital psychological space. And distance, that precious space, is precisely where reason lives, where clarity resides. You are no longer the anger itself. You are the person observing anger, and from that powerful place of objective observation, you finally have the profound freedom to choose your response, to act with wisdom rather than impulse. Habit 7. Channel energy. Emotions at their core are pure energy. Think of them like electricity, a powerful raw force. When directed purposefully, when harnessed and guided, they can light up an entire house, powering countless devices, bringing warmth and illumination. But if short-circuited, if left uncontrolled and undirected, they can burn it all down, causing immense destruction. This, my friends, is what we so often forget in the heat of the moment. Anger, anxiety, sadness, even intense joy, all of them are massive, potent sources of energy. The issue, the fundamental question, is not whether you experience them or not. The real, crucial question is what you will choose to do with them. Suppress them, bottle them up, and that immense energy will inevitably turn inward, manifesting as destructive explosions, unhealthy habits, and insidious self-sabotage. But if you learn, with conscious effort, to redirect it, to channel its raw power, it becomes potent fuel, propelling you forward, driving you towards growth and achievement. Think of the last time you were consumed by anger. Instead of screaming, instead of lashing out, take that internal fire, that intense energy, to the gym. Let every stride on the treadmill, every powerful punch on the heavy bag become a cathartic release, a productive outlet. Or when profound sadness descends upon you, pick up a brush, a pen, a musical instrument, and create. Turn that deep pain into art, into something beautiful and meaningful. And when anxiety hits, that restless, buzzing energy, channel it into meticulous preparation, into disciplined action, into proactive problem-solving. The Stoics taught this profound principle centuries ago. Obstacles are not roadblocks, but opportunities in disguise. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." To him, difficulty was not a wall to be feared, it was a step upward, a challenge to be embraced and overcome. Modern psychology echoes this same timeless truth. When we consciously channel our emotions into constructive action, anger and anxiety no longer weigh us down, no longer paralyze us. Instead, they drive us, they motivate us, they compel us to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. This truly is the art of transformation, turning darkness into light, turning pain into strength, turning raw emotion into purposeful action. Every single time you do this, you prove, unequivocally, that you are no longer dragged around by what stirs inside you. You are the one in command, the one leading the way, the master of your own destiny. So ask yourself, with honest introspection, what energy is alive within you today? Is it anger, anxiety, sadness? Will you allow it to hold you back, to diminish you? Or will you choose consciously to turn it into fuel, into a powerful force for good? The answer, my friends, is entirely yours to determine. You have now completed the journey through these 7 powerful, transformative habits. From the seemingly small, yet profoundly impactful moments, like pausing for 5 seconds and breathing deeply, to the greater, more expansive steps, like acknowledging your emotions, naming them, and consciously channeling their immense energy. These are not merely superficial techniques for controlling fleeting emotions. They are, in fact, profound disciplines for shaping the very person you truly aspire to be. Clear-minded, steady, resilient, and utterly free in an often chaotic and unpredictable world. Stoic philosophy, with its enduring wisdom, points us to a simple, yet revolutionary truth. You cannot control what happens out there, in the external world, but you can always control how you respond to it. And when you master your response, when you gain dominion over your inner reactions, you master your life. You become the architect of your own peace. The fact that you are here at the very end of this video, having absorbed these insights, is undeniable proof of something truly extraordinary within you. You did not watch this merely for fleeting entertainment. You practiced patience. You exercised discipline. You chose determination, a commitment to self-improvement. That, my friends, is the very essence of the Stoic spirit. Not empty theory, not abstract concepts, but tangible action, consistent practice, and an unwavering commitment to yourself, to your growth, to your well-being. So, if you are truly ready to continue walking this path, not just today, not just with these 7 habits, but far beyond, into a life of greater purpose and serenity, subscribe to this channel right now. Do not think of it as a mere click. Think of it rather as a solemn pledge, a profound promise to yourself that you choose to live with discipline, with depth, with the profound peace you inherently deserve. And remember this, always, emotions are not a burden, not a weakness to be suppressed. Emotions are pure, unadulterated energy. And when you learn to direct that energy, when you master its flow, you do not just preserve your inner peace, you transform every obstacle into strength, every hardship into fuel, every challenge into the very force that propels you forward, towards a life of true mastery and profound fulfillment.